All right, welcome back to the show. It's nice to see you guys back. We are now going to preview Adelaide 2. So I see here we're going to first go over our bets for the first round for today, which are the matches are actually in progress as we are taping this podcast. So I see here that you got a couple bets for Adelaide 2. Talk me through them.
Yeah. So the first one, the first round here is Evans -3 versus McDonald. And Evans is actually down a set right now, but he did break in the second set. McDonald is like, Evans is kind of like a better. So we talk about there's a few players like this. Evans is one of these players who he tends to beat the guys he should beat, but then struggles against the guys he shouldn't beat, or sometimes he struggles in coin flip matches. But I think Evans is like 11-4 or something against guys between 50 and 100, which pretty much explains what McDonald is right now. He's probably a little bit on the higher end of that, but not far. And he tends to beat those guys by pretty good margins. So for this being -3 at -110, I felt like Evans was like maybe 60% likely to cover this. So I felt pretty good about this. McDonald's is just not like.
Yeah, we discussed
about
this in the last
podcast. He's a bottom level ATP guy. I do think he's better than like the challenger level guys, because he's more consistent. And he has a little bit more of a complete game. He doesn't mind like coming in. He plays pretty decent off the baseline. But he's not. He's kind of bottom level, but still carrying an ATP card player. Evans is better than that, so I liked -3 at -110 here. We talked about fading Edmund before. That's all we're doing here, guys. We're just gonna fade Edmund versus any guy who appears to be competent. Kecmanovic fits that bill.
It does.
And then I think the Kokkinakis match versus Popyrin match tonight, that's going to be fun. I'm not staying up for it because it's Sunday night, but that's going to be a lot of fun. Again, this is Adelaide 2, the only tournament that runs it back in the same location the next week, which is just ridiculous. Like, I don't know. Can't they spread the love and go to like some neighboring town or something? I don't know. Like, I think it's the only site that runs it back. Like, some of the challengers and futures do this, but I think this is the only ATP level tournament that runs it back. And the fact that they run it back the next week is just hilarious. We've talked about that too much already. But anyways,
I mean, I like
Kokkinakis won this exact event last year.
He did.
So coming back as defending champ. Mm-hmm. I don't like any spread line here. I think this is going to be a really tight match. Both guys have big serves, big forehands. I think there's going to be very few breaks. The over-under was 24, and I was really tempted to go over. I didn't, but I was really, really tempted.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch that because I don't know how Popyrin is going to come back from that deep run last week, and he kind of came up in that Nishioka match with a slight injury. So I would just play the money line, as you said. I wouldn't touch any spread or anything like that or totals because, like, I just don't know how he's going to pull up from that match last week.
I agree, and that's what kind of made me go against the. And like I said, the over-under just got really high. Like if this is an over-under of 22 or 22 and a half, kind of your neutral over-under, I'd hit it. But 24 is starting to get like that's usually like Isner territory. Right. So, but I think and then. But yeah, I mean, if Popyrin's healthy, I think this is close. I think the crowd carries Kokkinakis to win this enough to make this money line worth it. Man, you hit this money line too, right? The same way I did.
I think Kokkinakis in Adelaide, in his hometown, I think he wins that match 70% of the time. So I like the -150.
Yeah, if this is anywhere but specifically in Adelaide, we're not hitting this money line like this.
Yeah, right.
Like only in the town of Adelaide. Only in Adelaide 2 do we hit this line this way. Adelaide 1, I'd be like kind of on the fence.
I don't think Kokkinakis is going to feel like the pressure of defending his points. I think it's more just like playing at home and kind of getting that adrenaline.
I think so too. I don't think.
So if it was a 500 or a Masters, like then I think that comes into play, but not here. So as far as my bets go, let's check it out on the Twitter page so you guys can see our Twitter.
We do post the vast majority of our bets. I post almost all my bets. I think 90% plus go up on the Twitter. Anything you see in my statisticals on the Twitter, that's only stuff that I post beforehand. All about transparency here.
Yeah, me too. I post most of them on Twitter as well. So I think I only placed my parlay of the day today, which are like a my single bets are like a variation of this. So it's Kokonakis minus 150, as we talked about. Kekmanovic, I got him at minus 3.5. I just did an alternate spread, as we talked about in our last segment. I brought it down a game just to be sure that I hit it. Minus 210 is not great, but I think, I mean, he should get minus 3.5 against Edmund, who we're fading. Nakashima minus 2. I just think he's a more solid hardcore player than ADF. I just ADF is a little bit erratic, and I just think Nakashima is like a good matchup for him because he's just like steadier, like and I think I see like two close sets. I see like a 4-4 kind of match here. So that was my mindset behind the minus 2. And Brooksby already hit the minus 2.5. It was a fun match. I was watching it on my iPad before the podcast tonight, and Brooksby lost a close first set, 7-5, but then he turned it around in the second, just more steady than Fonini, and he was the steadier in the third. Fonini's a way better ball striker, but he's just more inconsistent. So I know I was talking about this match with Brad earlier. Brad was saying how he typically doesn't touch guys that are playing their first match. And I saw that as well when I was doing my research, but I actually took that into Brooksy's favor. I thought, like, coming into the season, I thought Fonini, may have been snacking on too many calzones. And I thought Brooksby.
Well, I think Flavia has helped him to get into shape, right? I think he's married to Panetta, right?
Yeah, Flavia Panetta.
Yeah, so I think Flavia's. I don't know. Flavia he looks okay. It looks like Flavia's keeping him grounded.
And he was trying in the first set, so I gave him a round of applause for that. But I was happy he didn't cover the 2.5. So I was happy with that win. So I just need 3 more legs, and those are my my parlays for.
Yeah, I don't Adelaide. Like the Nakashima ADF bet. I was looking at that. The minus 185. I think you're right, man. I think you probably will hit that, but you've got to hit that 65% of the time or something in order to make that valuable. So I don't know. I don't. Yeah. I'm not saying I would take the other side of it. I just think it's a.
That's definitely the riskiest part of this parlay. But I don't know. I like my chances there. I think minus 2 he can cover that.
I mean, we'll see.
We will see. I think there's an Auckland match in one of those in that parlay as well. I think, let me see if I
the only Auckland match I hit, which covered beautifully, was Le Chen. Le Chen won, I think, 3-1 against Chassin, yeah. And Chassin's a tough customer, right? He made the round of the US Open last year. He's a tough customer, but he's probably a better clay guy. He's improving on the hard court. But Lechen is he's playing really well in the past 6 months. Really crafty player. Somebody who I've really the joke we were making beforehand was I really like to bet him. But he's one of those guys you kind of bet him and just kind of like walk away. Like and he's probably going to turn out pretty well for you, but you just kind of bet him and like leave it be, because it is always a little bit. It's always a little bit scary, but it seems to work out more often than not for me. But I was amazed against form. What?
He's had a good run of form recently.
Yeah, and against Chassin, I was surprised to see that you could get this good of odds at minus 2.
Thinking back, I mean, everything is easier in hindsight, but I think it was a good bet. Like guys who are like very steady, like Kachin, like kind of grinders, they struggle against that craftiness, guys who change the rhythm up in the point, like they struggle with that, especially on a fast court. So I think that matchup that definitely favors Lestien, and that was a good hit, and the scoreline shows.
Yeah.
So, good. Yeah.
Always nice to have the score lines where you don't have massive stress like we did just now with a couple of the matches we were watching.
Yeah, including some of the qualifiers, which we'll get into a little bit later. So just looking at the Adelaide 2 draw, what do you think of like the chances of the top ranked guys like a Rublev, Kachanov, Karina Busta?
I mean, I think the question is we hit on this before in the end at the end of podcast one, right? Is like, what are these guys looking to accomplish here? I can see why Rublev's playing this. I probably would too if I were him, right? Like try to get some confidence back after the loss. Um, I do think ironically he ends up in a really annoying spot in the draw because like if you're trying to get into rhythm for like a slam, like I don't really want to play Kokonakis or Popyrin. Like those aren't like
Right.
I don't know, those aren't guys who are gonna like get me in the rhythm I need, especially for a guy like Rublev who like needs to work on bombing the ball off the baseline because that's what he's gonna do. Um, but I mean, the draw does set up really. I mean, that's ironically the draw sets up potentially like nicely for Kokonakis to again make a run to like the semis, right? Like, I think the Kokonakis Rublev match is interesting.
It is.
I think again it would be like a very tight match, not a lot of breaks.
And Kokonat, well, Rublev is very professional and he's going to wake up for that match, but Kokonakis will too. So,
yeah. Otherwise, I mean, it's a weird draw. I think it's really ironic that so if I look at the second quarter then of the draw, like that second quarter is like the quarter of like very average players, with the exception of maybe like Bonsai and Cressy, but like very like boring standard average players. Like it's almost like you have like the big bomber section of the draw, the top quarter, the second quarter is like your grinder section.
mhm.
I could see anybody winning that section. Like literally, I could see any of those seven guys getting through, maybe with the
Yeah.
exception of Millman. But like any other one of those, and Vanillas has been really off to the past 6 months ever since the
Yeah. So
hardcourt season. So
that's a weak first round match,
that's
but
really a weak first round
besides
match.
that,
But I could see anybody else
yeah.
in that quarter getting
Agree.
through, including Bonsai and Cressy.
I think the third quarter is actually quite strong. Actually, really strong. I think
Yeah, I agree. Though that's
I'm
a very
interested to
strong
see
third
Tommy
quarter. Kachanov gets a
Paul.
rough quarter here.
That's a rough quarter. I think that Rinderneck Husler match, that's an excellent
Well,
first
I think
round match.
all these matches are excellent matches. I mean,
Yeah.
O'Connell's looked pretty good too recently, and he's an Australian, so he's playing at home.
Hmm.
Um, I think these are all. I think this is a really good, really this third quarter is really strong.
It is.
And then the fourth quarter, yeah, I
Evans
don't
and
know. Like
McDonald are
it's
battling it out right now. I like the Rusevori Yemer match. That's an interesting one.
yeah. I mean, this is like so like this is like the interesting quarter, right? With like interesting players and like interesting matchups.
Well,
Because like Rusevori and Emer, like I feel like that could go like any direction. Like that could be really tight. It could be like 2-2 for either guy. Like I just don't know.
I feel like they
Um,
play each other a lot.
they may. I mean, they probably go to a lot of the same tournaments because they're both Scandinavians and they're kind of similar. I mean, Rusevori's got a better ranking. Rusevori, I think, is in the top 50 now, and Emer's like between 50 and 100.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, they're probably seeing each other a fair amount.
Yeah, three times, but three times in the last 2 years. So that's a decent amount. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for two guys at that level, right? Like,
Yeah. And this is
uh,
interesting because Machak and Kwan, they just played a three-setter in the qualifying, and they're
and
playing
now they match up
again
again.
in the first round. Yeah. So they're playing back-to-back matches against each other. I don't know if that's happened very often. So
You know, I saw that happen once last year too. It seems to happen every so often.
Mhm.
You know, but I mean, it's really weird in that like I feel like the average tournament probably one or two lucky losers gets in. So like for these qualifiers, these second round qualifiers, like even if you lose, there's like a 50-50 shot you'll get in, which
Yeah.
is kind of interesting.
Especially, I feel like a week before a slam.
Yeah, I think you might see two more lucky losers get in. I think you might see one or two more guys drop
Possible.
out.
It is possible.
I'd be surprised if Bonsai plays this. Like, why? Right? Um, I'd be surprised if that's probably the biggest guy I'd be surprised to see play it. But I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, all the Aussie guys will play. I mean, I will see. I could see Bonzi playing. I mean, for him, like these 250s are a big deal. Like
Yeah, but he just made a run all the way to a final, right? Like, I don't know. Do you want to play that many? But I guess maybe you're less worried about, like, I don't know, more worried about that than the Aussie. I don't know.
all right, let's play a little bit of guess the lines for these
All right.
first round matches. So I will say the match, and then you will give me a line, and we'll see how accurate you are. And this will kind of give us some betting material for tomorrow. So let's see. So what about the? Oh, do they only have? Okay, so Bonzi and Cressy. What's your guess?
I'm gonna say that's a pick 'em. Maybe Bonsai -1.
No, you're actually a little off. Bonzi's plus 120, Cressy's minus 155. And the
Wow. So
spread
what's the
is
spread? Like Bonsai.
Cressy minus 1.5.
Wow. Have they played?
Hmm. They have. They have not played.
Interesting. So
But I want to see
I'm
if
still staying away from that. I'm not gonna bet that, but
I feel like Cressy has not been in a good run of form recently.
yeah.
So
I
he
forgot I
lost.
forgot that Kokonakis got him, but that's not a bad loss. I mean,
No, it's not terrible. And then he lost. Yeah, he had a good match against Djokovic in Paris.
Cressy, it's so tough because like you just don't know. Like so many sets are going to be close because he's serving volley. Like
Yeah, six
it's
and
such a
six.
weird style matchup, and
Tops. I mean, Lestien got him in 3, but
Wolf got him in 2.
Green 4, yeah. Yeah, he's just it's kind of like an anomaly because there's just very few serving volleyers. Like, how do you think Bonzi's gonna deal with that? Like he's an okay returner, but he's not a great returner. So
I mean,
I don't really have a
it's
good
such a
read on
different
it.
matchup that I can't tell you, right? Because we haven't seen it, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's actually thinking about it now, I think it's a pretty well set line because like how is Bonzi going to react after the flight from Pune, after the disappointment of losing that match? So, um,
Well, that's why I would stay away because I think there's a lot of variables here that I don't know. Um,
so this next match, I'm definitely going to hit it, and I'm definitely going to probably include it in a parlay. Rinderknecht versus Husler.
I'm gonna guess Rinderneck is like a -150 on the money line.
Yeah, minus 145.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm
Huser,
gonna
did Huser play Adelaide or not? Or
he
has
played
Huser played
United.
matches yet this year?
He played for Switzerland at the United Cup.
Right.
And he struggled. He struggled. He played this guy Skatov, who's in the
Aussie Open qualies. I saw him. Yeah.
qualies. Yeah. And he barely beat him in 3 tight sets. So I'm definitely hitting Rinderknecht there. So and Rinderknecht played Coric really tough. I think he beat someone else. He beat
No, Rinderneck is tough.
yeah, and he had a good end to the year last year.
Yeah, Husler. Yeah, and Husler definitely has some holes. I mean, there's some game there, but there's definitely some holes. Yeah.
There are actually not too many lines out because the qualies just finished today.
Yeah.
So that's slightly unfortunate as we're on the podcast now.
Yeah, I also wonder how many guys are, like I said, I think there might be 1 or 2 guys that pull out. I wouldn't be surprised to see Bonsai not play, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Does Sinego play? I know he retired
No, he's playing right
time.
now. He's playing right
Oh,
now.
that match is going on now. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Draper, I think just pulled out the first set 6-4.
Okay.
Evans has a set point at 5-2.
That would be huge for the -3.
That
That
would
would
be
be
huge,
what we
yeah.
want to see.
And he would start the third serving if he converts his break
Well,
points.
that's why that would be what we want to see. I mean,
Yeah.
although if he converts it and I'm -2, then I just need him to win by 1 break in anyway. I don't need him to serve first.
So I picked Machak in another like I picked Machak to beat Quan
I think
earlier
I like that
today.
pick.
And I think it might happen again. It was a tight 3-setter. So I'm expecting the odds to be pretty close to even money there. But I probably pick Machak. And then Rusevori Ymer. Ymer got him in Washington last year. But I think Rusevori is the better player. But that's a close matchup as well. So I don't know. I would have to see the odds there. If Rusevori, I'm expecting Rusevori to be like -175. That's where I would.
I think I like the under in that match.
The under, really?
Yeah, I not well. So like, yeah, because I think that these are two guys who, like, I don't think they might necessarily struggle with nerves. I just think they sometimes go like off the rails. So yeah, I kind of like. I mean, again, given that the over under is going to be like a 115 kind of play, I don't know. Like, look at that. Look at that. That's
Yeah,
like 8 matches in a row.
look at
of blowouts.
Rusevori's the score lines here. That points towards being going under.
Yeah, that's 9 matches. I mean, and great, it looks like that's broken a little bit, but that's 10 out of 12 that are under 20.
Yeah, it's a good point. Let's check Mikael Ymer. Yeah, mainly
Not as
up.
bad, but I mean, still a lot of under stuff there.
Yeah, he overachieved in that crazy match against Felix, but Bublik is always going to be long sets. But yeah, for the most part there, it's like a lot of straight set matches here. So
yeah.
And he's had some good wins. Tommy Paul played FA tight.
I didn't realize Emer was playing this well. I mean, this is really impressive stuff. I mean, look, he's gotten his ranking up 30 points in 3 months.
He's at his career high ranking.
Yeah.
So, and has Rusevori played this season?
Yes, he did. He lost early in the last tournament. Yeah, he lost early. He lost first round of Pune. Or second round of Pune.
Which
first match he played in Pune.
Yeah, it's not as bad of a loss as I probably initially think. But I might have to go with.
I don't think it's a terrible loss, but it is. I mean, he's 0-1 on the year, right? 0-1 is not a good record.
If I could get plus money on Ymer, I might hit that.
Oh, I think I'd be surprised if you could, but if you could, I would hit that. I would also hit that.
Yeah. Paul, I expect to be a sizable favorite. I don't like O'Connell too much.
I don't know. I mean, I think that like just because O'Connell's at home, he's not good. He's a challenger level player, but because he's at home, like if it's like less than 4, maybe you take, if the spread is like above 4, maybe you take O'Connell. Like if
I'm expecting 3.5. I think that's what the book is going to put it at.
And 3.5 is and that's probably not. I'd probably stay away at 3.5.
I'd stay away from that. Yeah, and Paul is probably going to be minus 250, minus 300.
Yeah, something. It's not. It's probably the book's probably going to set that one pretty well.
Yeah. Then Kubler Echeverry. I mean,
Kubler's probably the guy to bet there. Echeverry has a good ranking, but he's a clay guy.
And Kubler beat Evans last week at the United Club Cup, so that was a good win for him.
Kubler's playing a lot better. Kubler past 6 months has been pretty good. Has had some big wins. Has had some really exciting matches too.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Auckland. Let's go to New Zealand. All right.
So do you want to guess some lines, Manny, or do you want to go through the draw first?
Let's do guess the lines first. Whatever's up.
All righty.
Whatever matches are up. Let's
let me pull it up. Gotta love the lack of technological preparedness from the podcasters here. All right. So there's a few matches. Okay, so we got Gasquet versus Panu.
Oof. I think that matches tonight. I mean, Gasquet's got to be like a minus 500, minus 600 in that vicinity.
I would hammer Gasquet. Panu's like, he's a futures guy. He's a wild card.
Yeah,
He's from New
exactly.
Zealand. He's like 800 in the world. Gasquet is -6, and the money line is -1800.
Whoa. Minus 1800? Seriously?
Yeah.
Oof. I'm
And
sad.
Panu is +900, and I still wouldn't touch it.
No, I wouldn't touch it. I didn't. Yeah. I mean, I didn't think there would Gasquet would be a minus 800, 1800 against anyone.
You might against Fridman.
That's like a Djokovic line against a qualifier, but
It is. It's a really 6 is a huge
yeah,
line.
that is crazy. I wouldn't touch that.
No. This is a match I would never ever touch. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Manarino and Wolf.
Ooh, I was looking at this match earlier today. That's tough. It's probably.
I feel like both these guys are just so like there's so much variance here.
Yeah.
If anything, the over under is 22.5. Like maybe I like that. But what do you think the line is? Did you see it?
I think Monterino. I saw it, but the line may have changed. When I saw it was pretty much a pick 'em. I thought Monterino should be a slight favorite, maybe like a minus 130.
-125 is where it is right now. So yeah, I think I think they've moved it back towards where it should be.
Okay.
But I think that's just like either of those guys can go in any direction, man. Like I just like you don't know which Manarino and which Wolf is going to show up.
Yeah, Wolf has a bigger game, but the thing is, like, I feel like Monterino will kind of frustrate him by taking the ball early, and I don't think he's
with this like very kind of flat, goofy forehand style. It's
right.
Also weird. It's got to be a weird shot from the side of the net to look at because he's got a very weird stroke.
Yeah.
Is
it Wolf's first match of the year?
For Manarino? I don't think
No.
so.
Manarino played United Cup, but is it Wolf's first match?
Ooh, I don't know. I think so. I think it is. One of our favorite guys, JJ Wolf.
Yeah, he's fun to watch. Very high energy. And he had a good year.
Big game, high energy guy. But no, he hasn't played since October. I would stay away from this. I think this is just, to me, this just screams you're giving the book that's 6% if you bet this.
Yeah. I'd play I'm with you. I play the over here. And if you play the over 12.5, I'd probably lean towards playing Wolf there. Just because
that might be the right play.
The only thing is like, he has a bigger serve.
Yeah, that might be the right play.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Like, this could go so many different ways. I just don't know. Like, because I think Manarino should win this. Like, the matchup should favor him. I think even though Wolf has the bigger game, I think style-wise, Manarino should frustrate Wolf and should win this. But he has to show up, and Manarino doesn't always show up. Manarino did win Winston-Salem last year, which is a warm-up tournament, a hardcore warm tournament for the U.S. Open.
Did play well there. That's true. If the off the return, I think Manarino might have some trouble though, like getting the serve back. And Wolf has a very good serve +1.
So, the +1 is pretty good. I agree. But I think if they get into rallies, I don't think that favors Wolf.
It doesn't.
I don't know.
But yeah, and I also don't really. I got to see more of that tournament before I have a good gauge on the court speed and So yeah, this is total stay away. But it's an interesting match to watch. I certainly would like to see some of it. But
yeah.
All
right, next fun one: Molcan and Hallis.
Ooh, so Hallis, I was really impressed with against Djokovic last week. He played a hell of a match. Come to think of it, like, can you think of a better warm-up tournament for Djokovic? Like, that was, like, he had a lot of tough matches, tough opponents.
If you're Djokovic, you got to love it. You had a lot of tough matches, different opponents. You got a winning versus Medvedev, which I think is huge. Like, that's probably the one guy. If I'm Djokovic, that's the one guy I would have wanted to play and beat.
Mm-hmm. And
so,
then Korda, who was playing his best. I wouldn't say overachieving, but playing his by far his best. And then the Hallis match kind of got his antennas up because He played really well. So I would say, and Molcan is primarily a clay guy. So I would expect Halis to be minus 175.
Directionally, but actually it's further. He's a minus 240. Do you think the book's
Oh,
overreacting to the Djokovic match? Like,
absolutely.
Hallis wasn't that good outside of that one match. Like end of last year, Hallis has never been that good.
I think he's top 70 now, top 60. He's at his career high ranking.
Yeah.
Thompson 3 and 4. Ooh, he lost in pair. It was last year, but he lost to the Bash man. That's not a good loss. uh Lost to Coric in Vienna in 3 sets. That's not bad.
But I don't see any wins here that are really inspiring.
Challengers, yeah.
Like none of those wins is inspiring.
Not really.
It's not ATP inspiring. This would be inspiring for a challenger player, but none of these wins here in these last 15 wins are like great wins. Like who's the best win on that list? Kachin, maybe?
Yeah. Montero. You got a challenger here. Yeah, it's not great. I mean, there are a lot of wins, but it's not impressive wins, you know. So let's see Molchan, because like Molchan is I like him. Like he's very steady. He's good on clay. In the clay season, I loved betting him last year.
Yeah, I just think he's more of a clay guy than he is a hard guy.
Let's see here. Molchan. Oof. So he didn't have a good end to the year last year on hard. Straight sets lost to Jere, Gasquet, and Rinderknecht pretty easily. Did beat McDonald in 3, lost to Wolf. Davis Cup beat Marius Copil, then lost to Montero, Schwartzman, and Ruud. Well, Ruud is not bad, but Schwartzman, that's not a good loss, losing to Schwartzman. Last year. Schwartzman was not good on hardcore last year.
Yeah, this is yeah, I mean it's not a good. I mean he's a clay guy, right? He's essentially a clay specialist.
Yeah.
I
Last year. I mean, if I could get minus 175, I'd probably add him in a parlay, add Halis, but at, was it minus 240? I'm not touching that. What's the spread? Is it like could you get
3.5?
3.5? See, I take it at 2.5, but I wouldn't take it at 3.5.
Yeah, it's pretty well set line.
It is well set. It's just
really this is kind of a weak matchup. Munar and Jiri.
Munar and Jere. Jere's probably a slight favorite at minus 145 is my guess.
Really close, 125.
125.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. This is a stay away from me. Like this is a much more interesting match on clay.
You're very high on Munar. I know you bet him a lot in the clay season last year.
On clay. I'm high on him on clay. He's a clay specialist.
He's a battler. I just think Jere is like just a better hardcore player, and I think minus 125, I would take a stab at that on the money line.
I can see that. I think the value is definitely more on Jiri than Munar.
Jere had a good
again, I mean, like Munar is a battle. I think it's I don't know.
Yeah.
Last match, I think this one's a fun one. Baez versus Shelton.
Ooh. If I could get good value on Shelton, I'd hit him on a fast hard court. Probably I would say Shelton minus 150.
Shelton minus 220 and the spread's 3.5.
Whoa. That's
I
crazy.
don't know how I feel about this. Like Shelton is really good. Baez has not been so good after the US Open.
I think we're
Um,
overreacting on Shelton though. Because
I
prior,
think so too. I think so too.
yeah, I don't really think Baez wins that match, but what's the spread?
3.5. Baez is getting 3.5.
It's getting 3.5. The problem is, like, if Baez wins these sets, I see him like winning a tiebreaker or something, but I don't see him winning a set easily because I don't think he's going to easily break Shelton's serve. So I
Baez
don't.
is really good on the return. He's really good in rallies though. Like I don't know, but his game is not bigger than Shelton. He's not.
Right.
He's kind of out of form. Like yeah, I don't know. But Shelton minus 3.5 feels like a lot. But Shelton had some good wins last year. He beat Rude in a 1,000.
Yeah, he did. That was amazing win. Yeah. Let's see. See Baez's results. Oof, he's just been terrible. This is his first match as well. 4-match losing streak on hard court. Last win is a 7-5, 7-6 win against Sonigo. And then look
Yeah,
at,
there's like 6 losses before that. I mean, and
yeah,
granted,
it's
these are
crazy.
mostly pretty good players.
Lestienne, Goyo, Berrettini, Emer, Elias Emer,
Like
Alcaraz.
the Emer loss is not good, and the Zhizhen Zhang loss is not good. But otherwise, I mean, I would expect Baez to lose the rest of these matches. Pedro, we shouldn't be losing to, but
No. This was actually an extremely entertaining match against Alcaraz at the US
I
Open.
know, and like I
I was
remember these
there.
mat that I remember
Very
that
high
match, and
quality.
that's why like I thought maybe Baez could play on hard, but it doesn't really look like it for the rest of these matches. So I mean, I guess this line is probably really well set, and it probably Shelton's probably the pick minus 3.5.
Hmm.
But Shelton's had some weird losses, I think. Maybe not.
It
He's killing the Challenger Tour, but I mean, none of
is.
those wins are ATP level wins. Because
Tough.
his rank, the problem is his ranking. He's working on getting his ranking up so he can play ATP tournaments.
Right.
He gets wild cards in the summer because he's in the US, obviously. But once he leaves the US, he doesn't get wild cards.
But on hard court, these guys are pretty similar to Baez's level. I mean, they're probably slightly
I
worse,
mean,
but
these top guys, Quackard,
yeah, probably not. I mean,
yeah, these guys are all a little bit lower than his level,
a
but
little
he's
bit
also
lower.
beating all these guys. I mean, that's like 15, 16 matches in a row.
Right. And that must give him confidence. Yeah, I'm probably going to stay away from it. On clay, clearly bet Baez. It's just crazy how much the surface matters in this matchup.
Yeah, yeah.
It's insane.
It is pretty insane.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's all that's up for that tournament so far.
Yep. Yeah. So if we go to the draw, we can look through the draw.
Yeah.
So Rude at the top. What do you think? What I mean, so I think that'll be the story of this tournament, right? Is what does Rude look like? I mean, the good news is that should be that first match should be good for him. The second match, is probably really bad. If you're Rude, maybe you just play the first one and then exit the tournament in quarters. I mean, Rude won't do that, but
I don't think we will do that.
I could see.
I mean, he could play Isner in the quarters, although I might fade Isner this year. What are your takes on Isner? I mean, he's getting up there in age. He's 30, I think 38 years old now.
I mean, define fade, right? Like,
I mean,
does he beat Leshien's? Leshien's probably a better player.
probably, but does Lestienne return the serve?
I mean, I don't know.
I'm curious to see this line against Barrere, actually, because this Barrere has gone through qualifying, so he's gotten some matches under his belt. Isner, this is his first match of the year. He came off an injury late last year. He didn't play, I think, end of last year. Is that right?
Barrere?
No, Isner.
I know he was hurt at times. He didn't play. He didn't play in as many tournaments as he usually does. Can't remember if it was the end of the year. I think it was the end of the year. I think he was hurt. I think you're right.
Was hurt. So if I could get a decent line on Barrera, I think I would hit that. I don't know. It's a good draw for Casper. I think he should get to the semis pretty comfortably.
I mean, Leshen could be an annoying match, right? But I think Rude wins that pretty easily. But
Yeah.
I'm probably not happy about that draw if he has to play either Leshen or Isner. Like it's probably just not a great warm-up match because they're both such different styles.
Right.
Look how weak that second quarter is, man.
It's
Ooh.
terrible. Yeah.
Like Gasquet might actually be the favorite down there. Probably Goffin, but it's either Gasquet or Goffin.
Goffin did play well against Bublik today. He showed something there. Bublik is a clown. Let's put it out there. I never bet his matches. I never touch it. It's just
Bublik is my favorite over 12.5 guy.
Yeah, over 12.
Because usually usually doesn't clown that badly. Usually he'll like win a set and then clown, or he'll clown for a while and then decide to play tennis and win a set. But yeah.
Yeah. I think Eubanks beats Humbert in my eyes, and I think that's an interesting match against Goffin. Actually, Eubanks played super tough at the US Open.
Defense, Eubanks, and very little consistency.
Yeah.
Is Eubanks ranking high enough to get a main draw entry to the Australian Open? I'm surprised he's not in qualies for that.
Eubanks 123. Did he get a wild card?
Maybe he got the US gets the wild card, and maybe he got the wild card.
Yeah.
He must have, because otherwise he'd be in the Australian Open qualies for sure.
And Cerundolo has been has been bad. He had a good run on the clay season last year, and he had a good run in Miami, but he's kind of faltered since then. So I actually like Gasquet to make it out of this quarter. That'd be my pick. And then this is a pretty weak quarter.
Yeah, I think either him or Goffin, right? It's the battle of the old guys there, yeah. And then this quarter is not much better. When I saw this, I was like, this middle of the draw is really ugly.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
Like, I think if Brooksby is motivated, I think he should make the semis. It's also a really nice opportunity for Shelton to rack up some points.
Yeah, I agree. Although I think Halis, I mean, if he continues the form that he showed against Novak, I think he should beat Shelton. But I think Brooksby.
I would agree. I just think maybe it's a bigger. I just think in terms of like career, that's a huge, like another 200 points be a big deal for Shelton.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Just keep putting those points up.
I agree. Yeah, and then the bottom quarter got Manarino.
So is he in the Australian Open, Shelton? Does he have a main draw entry? Maybe he does. Who are the wildcards for the Australian Open? They must have announced them.
Let me see. What's going on with this? Let me see. Team Kubler, Yibing Wu, Alexei Poprin, yep, Christopher Eubanks, Luca Van Ash, John Millman, and Rinky Hijikata.
So that means that Shelton must be getting a direct entry. I didn't think his ranking was high enough.
Yeah, 96.
I think it's
He's in the top 100, so he gets automatic entry.
Yeah, I guess so.
Good for him. That's a hell of a run.
Yeah, to already be there. Yeah.
Yeah. And then this bottom quarter, we got Cam Norrie. You got Lechka. You got Manarino, JJ Wolf. I mean, Norrie should get there. I think he's another guy that tends to play the week before a
He
major?
does. He won a warm-up tournament last year also for one of the slams.
Yeah. So, and he showed good form at the United Cup. So I expect him to cruise there, and he should make the final because this quarter is so weak.
Well, I mean, the only thing that's tricky there, if you go down,
Yeah.
the only matchup that should be at all tricky for Nori if he's motivated is if he has to play Manarino or Wolf. Those are like annoying matches.
Mm-hmm.
But like Lechka Montero, that's a great match for Nori first round.
Yeah. He'll get a rhythm. Yeah, that's terrific.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Manarino or North Wolf could be a little annoying in the quarters. Otherwise, and then like again, if he's played like Brooks being the semis, like
Manarino is a poor man's Nori, right? I mean, that's a good way to describe him, right?
Oh yeah, I don't think any of these guys are beating Nori. You're right. I mean, there's no really like, if Nori's motivated, he should make the final.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, it's just a really weak draw. Like I'm really disappointed.
Adelaide is stronger. I mean, I think Rude and Nori, it's more top heavy, but like the meat of the draw is extremely weak.
It's just ironic. There's not a whole lot of hardcore. There's a lot of clay guys who decided to come out here for a warm up, which makes sense. But there's just it's interesting to see how guys set their schedules.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll keep posting our bets of the day as these tournaments go on this week. So follow our Twitter page. And let's get into Aussie Open qualifying because I know you have a ton of bets for today. I actually like betting qualifying because like for these challenger level guys, these matches are huge.
It's just so brutal. I mean, these matches, because the thing is like these guys are all below ATP level, so like these matches have a lot of swings, and we'll start talking about like so we can talk about some of the live updates. So Uchida was up a set and a break against Elias.
Oh no.
He got broken, lost the second set in a tiebreak, and is now down 3-1, serving at 1-3-30 all in the third.
Are you kidding me?
On the flip side, Virtanen went from that being down 4-1 to now up 7-5, 2-0.
Holy hell.
So, like, these matches are just insane.
Yeah, they are. And those are two of our bets, right? Bets of the day?
Yeah, those are our two shared bets of the day. and they're both insane. Like,
before we started taping this part of the podcast, Uchida was up a set and a break, as you said. And
yeah.
Jerry was up a break.
So yeah, I mean, it's just these matches swing so much and so much more than ATP matches. Like when you watch these matches too, you can see the difference. You can see why these guys aren't quite there.
Yep.
Because they've got like half games. But
one reason why I like betting them is that you can bank on no retirements. They go all out. They go 120% for these matches. These are huge matches for these guys. More so.
Oh yeah. Oh, and they're fun to watch. I mean, there's certainly fun match watch. They're really cool. I used to go up to the U.S. Open qualifying every year. That was always a ton of fun. Always really cool to watch the tennis up there. Like, it's great to watch. It's just brutal to root for these guys because like there's just so many swings. The matches are just there's a lot more breaks. So because the players aren't as good, they're a lot shakier in terms of serve and especially +1. So there's a lot more breaks. So there's a lot more swings. And then the mental game also isn't as strong for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, that's true. So let's go go through our bets of the day for the qualifying. So I see here that you placed 6.
Yeah, so we cleaned up on the first two. Gaston and Vera cleaned up 1-1 and 2 in love. So, and granted, those were those money lines were obviously heavily. Those guys were both heavy favorites, but like Gerasimov hasn't played in like 6 months, and does not look good. Zekic is a clay guy who's not even that great on clay. Elias is another guy who's really not that good on who's a clay guy also. So I'm really surprised that but these matches are just crazy. I mean, so Holt that was another crazy one. So Holt was, I think, down. He was down a set.
Then a break.
Down a set and a break and came back to win. So I mean that one swung positively. So like Yeah, I mean, these are just really heavy swings. Virtanen, the Finn's been strong lately, is up, and Jerry hasn't been as good lately. Jerry's kind of a serve and not a whole lot else.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's up a set and a break on, although that's again not over. And we got Quacod versus Grenier tonight. I think Quacod, or however you say the name, is has been really strong lately, and that should be probably more like a -150 to -160. I was really surprised to see as a coin flip, so I hit that.
So if you
Those are my
cheat,
bets for today. I also have a whole bunch of stuff I like for tomorrow, which we can maybe get into
yeah,
after we talk about today.
yeah, I actually prefer tomorrow in a way.
I do too. There's a lot of interesting stuff out there tomorrow.
You're actually close to hitting a parlay though, because didn't you include all 6 of these in a
Yeah,
parlay?
these all six of these are a parlay together. I got. I mean, let's see how we define close, because right now Uchis is down to
Yeah.
six. I think he did. I think he might have held for 2-3 or for
Uh,
3-2.
let's see.
No, we got broken. He's down 2 breaks, and so
Oh,
that's done.
that's
That's a brutal. But to be fair, we got lucky on the other side with Holt, right? It's like that's what I'm saying. These matches are
brutal.
just brutal. Like it's really really hard to hit here, and we'll probably have a slightly positive day because if we hit the if we hit the jarring match, we'll see how we do. But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, it's tough. It's
it
tough.
is tough. Yeah. So my parlay, I think I have it on the Twitter account. Um, so this was killed very quickly with Kuzmanov just playing absolutely horribly against Schumer. It was just he just missed every ball. He did nothing right. It just like rallied and then just missed a rally ball. Like it was just terrible. And I thought Kuzmanov was heading in the right track. I thought he played pretty well at the United Cup, beat Zizou Bergs 2 in love, which maybe I'm just bitter because I bet Bergs in that match. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna throw a flyer on Kuzmanov. Probably not the smartest, but he was -165, and Jumer was struggling leading up to this qualifying tournament. But Jumer has a track record of being a top 100 ATP player. So that
Yeah,
probably,
he has been. He has been. Zoomer
yeah,
has been a top 100.
he
Yeah.
has, yeah. So that probably wasn't the smartest bet. Purcell against Cecchinato, I thought that was great, especially to add in a parlay. I thought that was a no-brainer. I was surprised that was -165. I was expecting like -250 or something like that there. I had Uchida, which we just talked about. Skatov, who played Husler tough at the United Cup. So I threw a little bit on him, and then Virtanen. I decided to play the +2.5 because Jerry just holds serve, and if he
I think
loses,
that's an amazing. I think that's an amazing bet there. With the
yeah,
way Jari plays style wise, I think 2.5 is real. And that's if you get him at -115 and +2.5. I think that's probably. I played at the money line. I think your play was probably better.
yeah, I should have played that as a single bet, but these qualifiers are just so crazy that I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna be crazy and throw them in the parlay. But maybe tomorrow I'll adjust my strategy and
Wild. I mean,
place
these
more in
these
single.
these qualifiers are so fun though. So fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So and then tomorrow I have, I think let me see I placed a parlay already for tomorrow. So I can I'll just read it to you because I don't want to have my book on the podcast. So I think the match actually of the qualifying in terms of round one is Van Rijthoven against get his name. Yeah, Van Rijthoven.
Against Reedy, I think he's playing right.
Yeah, against shit, where is it? Yeah, against Reedy. That's right.
Yeah.
So Reedy has won 16 of his last 17 challenger matches.
Yes. Yep.
And he has been very good. Yet,
And there are some real wins in there. So Gaston's a really good win.
mhm,
We just talked about Jari, but Jari is still a tough customer. Gaston's in there twice.
mhm.
Um,
Machak, who's been
Machak is a
playing
good
better.
win, although it's on hard. It'd be a better win on clay. Martyr is a good win. Stroof is a really good win. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, this is a great run.
it is. It is a great run. And then he lost to Fushevik, who is, he's an established ATP player. So that being said, I'm gonna go Van Riethoven in this match because you get him at plus money.
I
And
get that. I went the other way. I just think I was really impressed. I don't think Van Rijthoven's been as he certainly hasn't won 16 his last 17. He's also playing the ATP level.
mhm.
I think on hard, I really liked I liked the fact that Righty came out in Canberra and made the final and beat Gaston and Struff. So I went righty. I went the opposite way on this. I think this yeah.
Went the opposite way.
I went Reedy at minus 150.
Yeah, so but the thing is you get Tim Reithoven, who is a higher ranked player, more experience on the ATP tour, and has a big game. Like he played he played Novak tough. I know it's at Wimbledon, but like I think he's more battle tested is the best way to put it. And I just like the price that you're getting him at.
Yeah, I agree. You're getting a good price, but I thought maybe this is a trap one. I mean, I looked and I saw how well Righty was doing. I don't know, 15 wins in a row was really impressive to me. I mean, you're also talking about like, Van Rijthoven's higher ranked, but like that's because Righty was ranked like it's a 12-month ranking and Righty only started playing that well in the past like 3 months, right? So and you
Yeah,
got that loss to Ilkel in there, lost to Zizou Bergs, who isn't playing well right now.
true.
Um,
Took a set off Stricker, who's playing well. He's also in the qualifying draw, and he's one guy that I'm actually quite high on.
I like Stricker a lot. I like him
I
a
do
lot.
too. So, and I think I mean he's a sizable favorite tomorrow, but I'll probably play Stricker on the spread. I mean that's another match we're going to talk about. You know, See, you're probably right. I just like the price that you're getting on Van Rijthoven. You're getting him at plus money. So, and I think it's enough where I don't mind taking a crack at it.
Yeah, you may be right.
Um,
I probably should have stayed away, honestly. But like this
yeah,
is the match of round one. I almost this was almost just me being a degenerate and wanting to have a bet on the best match of round one. Because
yeah.
this is a great match.
Well, another thing to also consider is has Righty made a main draw of a slam?
I don't think so. I doubt it. No, because this is his first time in the top 250.
Right. So to me, that's huge because like I think nerves are going to come into play. I know it's the first
But
round.
this is first round. There's still 3 matches left. I think in round three that'd be a much bigger deal.
You're probably right. You're probably right.
But I think I probably should have stayed away because minus 154, you're giving away a lot. Like that means I have to win that
Yeah.
60% of the time. So I already placed it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go back now, but I
Right.
yeah, that's probably something that I'm and regardless, like I want to have money on one side of that, and I think part of it I just want to have the money on righty, but it's from an EV perspective, it's probably not there.
Yeah.
I'm probably just being a degenerate here.
Yeah, I mean that run though definitely, speaks volumes. Like you see that
Right,
column of
right.
wins and you're like, holy shit, it doesn't like matter kind of what level. It's just when you put together
Well, but no, but there's some real
wins.
wins in there, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not like some of these guys have runs of like 10, 12, 13 wins, and they're not like and they're all guys who win like the 2 to 400s. Like there's 3 or 4 really, really good challenger wins in there.
Hmm.
That Stone's a really good challenger win. Yeah, there's some. I mean, that's a good run.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Stroop is pretty good. Machak is actually really good. To beat him 3-1, that's an excellent win. So yeah. Yeah, probably a stay away. I'm gonna go with the plus money as a single bet. So we'll see. We'll see what wins tomorrow. It's good that we can like contradict each other sometimes, you know? Like
Yeah, we can sometimes go both sides, right? Like we
yeah.
don't we can't have too much agreement here.
Right. Right. And then another match I have is I think this might be my bet of the day tomorrow. Stricker to win 2-0 against Stebe at -130.
I stayed away here. I don't know if Stricker's played a match yet this year.
He finished the year last year so strong though.
He did, but I don't because I looked at this match and I decided not to bet it. And I think that's why.
Yeah, he hasn't played since the next gen finals last year, which he made the semis and lost to Lechka. But
I agree. That's a really strong run to end last year. He looked really good.
oof,
He got in a couple ATP tournaments and won a couple matches. Yeah, I mean,
really strong run. Look at that match against Karena Busta in Basel. Like that's a terrific match.
yeah. Look, I think I would have bet this on Stricker's side, except I didn't like the idea of betting I hasn't played in 2 months in a real match. I don't know.
Yeah, the guy's talented though. I mean,
But
he's
and he should be in good form. Like if he's gonna, he
Mhm.
should be like he should. I mean, I'm assuming he did something to prepare and feels prepared for the qualies. Otherwise, I'm assuming he wouldn't just like cold run it.
Yeah. And then Stebe,
Well, Stay prefers the clay.
right. And this is hard court, so that's another reason to
Yeah,
back
I mean, I think
Stricker.
literally the only
Stebe
reason I didn't
up
bet
to
this is
him.
because Stricker hasn't played a match yet this year. Even Stricker come out and had like a not so great loss, I probably still would have bet him. I just would have wanted to see that he came out and got like a match under his belt.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I definitely like Stricker to qualify though. Like I wish they had more of those lines out where you could bet them to qualify for the main draw. Have you seen that
yeah,
line?
I mean, I think it's Stricker. Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, I think Stricker's a really good player. He impressed me last year. Yeah, I like him a lot.
Have you seen those lines on any book though? Like where they
No, I haven't seen anybody
no.
offering out like odd odds to qualify.
Yeah. Because I think you're adding value because they have to win 3 matches, and I think it's not that difficult to predict. So I feel like there's a lot of value there if they offered it.
I don't know, man.
You
These
know?
guys are all so similar. These matches
Yeah.
are brutal. Like
Yeah.
they're so fun to bet, but I don't know if there's any value on any of it. Like it's just so brutal.
Um, I like Kudla on the spread against Jessica. If you bet him -2, that was another one I liked. Because I think Jessica, he plays like he's an Aussie guy, so he was like a wild card into the qualifying.
Yeah.
So he's like near the top 1,000. And Kudla, I mean, he's not good, but he's just, he's a solid player. So I think he could cover 2.5.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think it's a bad bet. I was a little worried about Jessica being at home.
Yeah, but it's the same as that match with Zizou Bergs today. Like when the level discrepancy is that large, it doesn't matter. Crowd can only do so much.
I
And
don't think the discrepancy here is as much as like
as
Jessica's a wild card in, but he's a legitimate challenger player. That other guy is not even top. These guys, the other guy's like maybe a futures level player. Anything else you like?
228. Yeah, he's and I liked James Duckworth against Kukushkin.
I think I chose to stay away there. I'm trying to remember what I did there.
Really? It's at home for Duckworth. I think he's been on slightly better form than Kukushkin. And I don't know. Kukushkin is just like way past his prime.
He is way past his prime. Yeah.
You're good. It's minus 175. So I'll probably add him in the parlay with Kudla. And I still like the Stricker bet. I know you're not as high on it. And I like Jan Leonard Struth tomorrow, -3 against Shevchenko.
Yeah, I love that bet. I love Struth -3.
Yeah. I think that's good too. So, and I like this guy Wu against Bellucci. I was looking at him a little bit. It's not Yubing Wu, it's
No, it's Lu Ting Ting Lu Wu or something.
Tong Lin Wu.
Tung Lin Wu, right.
But like these are decent wins here. Lloyd Harris, but Sujita. He had a decent run, and this tournament is this year. So he made the final in a tournament this year. I think that says a lot. So he's confident. And then this guy Bellucci, I haven't even heard of him. Tomas Bellucci, I believe. Yeah, ranked 908 in the world. So I like that bet. Just on the money line at -120.
Yeah, I mean that seems like a good bet to me.
Yeah. So that's what I like. I like Struth -3. I like Kudla -3.5. I like Wu against Bellucci money line. Stricker my two sets to love against Debe, and Duckworth money line. So those are my 5 bets tomorrow.
So I got a lot of the same stuff. We discussed a lot of them. I like Blankino -2 at -110 against Trungeliti. Trungeliti's as close, like he's another clay court specialist. In fact, like he only comes to play hard court tournaments when it's a slam qualifier, pretty much. He did qualify for the Australian last year, but he hasn't done really anything since then, especially on a surface that's not a clay court. And Blankino is pretty good. I like Martyr -154 on the money line.
Okay.
He's playing Hanfman. I think he's just a better player. Martyr's like, I think his rank is like the 150s, but I don't really know why. Because I think he's a better player than that. I think he's a borderline ATP level player.
Martyr, he's 159.
So it's moved from 154 to 159.
He actually played quite well in Pune. He qualified and then beat Elias Emer and Gere.
Yeah, so
it's not a bad result. He lost to Reedy. Talking about how to Reedy.
I've got Brancaccio at -3 at -105. He plays Agamennini, another Italian. I think he's a slightly better player here. I think he's in slightly better form or better form enough to be worth the -3 here. And then the last two are really my bets of the day, especially the last one. So Yosuke Watanuki is ranked, I want to say, in the top 400 in the world. He's been decent. The guy he plays, Filip Sekulic, he's a wild card in who's like borderline, who's like I think he's like a borderline top 1,000 guy. It's like 900 or something in the world, and Watanuki's like 300. You can get Watanuki under 12.5 games won at -150. So like the path is pretty clear here, right? I'm going for the 6-3, 6-2 blowout.
Yeah.
But I think there's a pretty good chance that happens with such a disparity in talent, right? Or disparity in ability. And in level, right? So I think Sekulic is a futures guy who's a wild card into this event. And Watanuki's a challenger level player who's actually, I think he's gotten some pretty good challenger level wins recently. Or at least some wins.
You could get
my favorite bet of the day
against 165 or -5.5 at -120.
No, no, I'm going under 20. Oh, I'm going under 12 and a half games, one for Watanuki at minus 150.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, it was the only way I could see to play it because it was a minus
Yeah.
1,500 money line, which is insane. But I'm just hoping Watanuki can beat him like 2-3 or 3-3 or something.
Right.
And I think minus 150 is amazing there.
Mhm.
Last one is this is my bet of the day. Mo against Mo is kind of an interesting guy. He pretty much beats everybody who he should beat, but he can't beat guys in the top 150. And everybody who he should be being guys like outside the top 300 in this case, right? Because we're talking about challenger level.
Mhm.
He plays a young 18-year-old kid, Bruno. I don't know how you say the name.
Kuzuhara.
Uzuhara. So I'm gonna play this at under 21
Okay.
at minus 145. Which gives me a little space. Imo can win something like 7-5, 6-3, and I'm still safe.
Well,
But
that
Imo,
would be a push, but yeah.
yeah, that would be a push. But I mean, I'm safe in terms of a push is a win, Manny. A push is a win, and a win is a push. It means I get to keep
That's
gambling without
true.
having to deposit
That's
more money in the
true.
account.
That is true.
But that's actually my single best favorite bet of the day is the Imo under 21. I think that, like I said, I think if you look at Imo, he also tends to win matches that he should win by good scores. So if he's playing a guy ranked 400, 500, he'll win like 4-2, 3-3, something like that. Like if you see, he doesn't. Yeah, he's got a very.
Yeah, they're all straight set wins.
Yeah, but you see, like they're all straight
5,
set wins, and they're all against guys who are way below his level.
3
And
and
then as soon as he
5.
plays a guy in the top 200, he can't win.
Pospisil, Krajinovic. He's competitive against them, but he can't win.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
So
I like that. I like that. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Well, this is what's great about this podcast. We learn from each other. You know,
we do. We definitely.
talk to you
I was
out of
gonna
the
put money on
first.
Zizou Berg or on the guy playing Zizou Bergs, and Manny taught me right out of that. So
Yeah, very quickly. So, but I think I'm gonna hit that Mo bet. That's good. I have trouble hitting unders. Like I feel like when I know we talked about this on the last segment, but whenever there's like an over under, I very often hit the over, and I feel like that's something you can kind of coach me into is like know when to hit the under. You know?
yeah, I think there's some unders out there that are worth hitting.
Yeah. Right. That being said, I struggle hitting over unders in other sports as well, you know, like football and basketball.
Yeah, I find over unders are really hard to hit.
Very difficult. I stayed away. I used to try and dabble in it, and now I just totally stay away. But tennis is different because it's, you know, you can, based on big servers, mental gap, you know, court speed, there's a lot of variables which can like help you gauge that. So, well, I think
I also think you're not as held to like in tennis, if it's a close game, it's more likely to go over, right? So you're kind of betting on like how close the match is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in other sports, like the game being close or not close can actually drive you over or under, right?
Right.
But you get in a lot of weird, like backdoor situations in other sports, right? Where like, you know, in football, a team will be ahead and will run out the clock, right? So like you'll be looking good to hit an over, but then a team will just like pack it in and run out the clock, right? Basketball, the same thing can happen. If a team gets too far ahead, they put in their subs, the game gets ugly for the last 5 minutes, and all of a sudden your over bet doesn't hit.
Right. And I feel like in other sports, it could be an over or under bet could be over in the first quarter. You know, like you bet the under and it's like a 80-point first quarter, you're done. You know?
Yeah.
So whereas tennis, like first set could be 7-6, and if you hit under 23, if the second set is 6-love, then you hit it. So
hitting over unders in tennis is a little more fun because of that. Like usually you're almost never out of the woods until the match is over.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And tennis, like every game you're on the edge of your seat. If you bet a spread or if you bet an over under, you're just
You
like on the
are.
edge of your seat. It's crazy. Like a deuce point, like you're just like enthralled, it's just nuts. So that's another reason why we just love betting tennis, because of the fun aspect of it.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
all right. So before we head out, I know the NFL playoffs, the playoff picture has been set. So do you have a quick Super Bowl pick?
I mean, so
I don't
I'm
mean to put
rocking
you on the
jersey.
spot.
I'm gonna I'm
Ooh.
gonna take the Bills.
Okay.
Um,
Wait, you're not wearing number 3.
no, I'm one number off.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
actually
Fair.
wearing Nate. I don't know if you remember a quarterback named Nate Peterman.
I do not.
He threw 5.5 interceptions for the Bills a couple of years back. So
So
I
that's what
have
you're
his jersey
celebrating.
as kind of as an irony thing, but yeah. So yeah, that's the jersey I'm rocking.
Okay.
And that's but I think but I mean you're not going to get good odds on the Bills, right? But that would be I do think they're better odds than the Chiefs. I just think they're a better team. They beat the Chiefs in
Well, I think
Arrowhead.
well, I think with the Chiefs getting the bye, I'm pretty sure the Chiefs are the favorite.
You're right. They will because they're getting the bye. But the Bills, Miami comes into Buffalo. That should especially if Tua's not playing, which I don't see how he would. That should be a walkover.
Mhm.
And then then you get to obviously anything in the conference semis is going to be tough, right? So but Kansas City lost to Cincinnati, right? I don't know. I think football is always so tough to bet. I haven't seen any lines yet, but I like the Bills in terms of just overall pick. On the NFC side, the thing that the bet that I like there is I think New York goes to Minnesota again. No, they don't. Seattle goes to Minnesota next week,
No, no,
right?
no. Seattle goes to San Fran.
So the Giants go to Minnesota.
Right.
Like the Giants.
Well,
If
not to make the Super Bowl, right?
no, but to beat Minnesota
Okay. I mean, I could see
next week.
that.
That's my surprise pick.
Okay.
That's gonna be my like fun pick is the Giants to beat Minnesota.
Okay.
Um, they came close last time. I think Minnesota
Yeah.
is wildly overrated.
Well, they won like 11 straight one possession games, which is
Right. They had that ridiculous comeback versus the Colts.
the Colts. They did it against the Bills. I mean, they did it against everyone.
Yeah, they've had 2 or 3 games this year that like should not have been wins.
No.
Like
I
it's
think
been kind of like an enchanted season.
they were 12-4 with a minus 36 point differential. Like, when does that happen? Like, that's the most insane thing ever.
Yeah, it is insane.
It's
It is
crazy.
insane.
It's insane.
And I mean, I don't think the minus 36 is indicative of how they are as a team, but I honestly think that's like a 9-8 level team. Like,
Yeah. They're maybe 10-7. I mean, something has to be said about them being kind of mentally tough and
yeah, I agree. And I don't think the Giants should be favored, but I think like I'll be interested to see that line. I'll probably come out as like Minnesota -3, and that's probably the right line. Like,
yeah.
the thing is so hard to bet football because there's so much knowledge out there.
Yeah.
Like nobody, like I'm saying the Giants are a good surprise pick, but like everybody else is gonna say the same thing on TV the next 3 days.
Well, the
Like
Giants
that's
are
not gonna be a
also
big take.
they're very well coached. That guy Dable is really good. And like
Yeah.
he took that B team and went into Philly and nearly beat them. So
Yeah, I
like
mean that was what a 6-point game that
yeah,
ended,
6 point game. Yeah.
23-17.
When the spread was, I think, 17,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
crain, but
Well, I mean,
yeah, I mean, I like that as a
that's
surprise pick, but who do you have in the Super Bowl for the NFC?
the Eagles. I'm gonna go chalk here. So
Really?
in my mind, it's close between the Giants and not between the Giants, between the 49ers and the Eagles.
Mhm.
I still don't believe in Brock Purdy. The guy's he was Mr. Irrelevant, right? He was the last pick in the draft this year.
Well, you could say the same with Tom Brady. I mean, he's proved it.
Tom Brady was a 5th-round pick or a 6th-round pick. He wasn't the last pick in the draft.
Okay, yeah. But
I mean, really, like it's
Purdy
and that
has, you know, surprised week after week after week after week. I mean,
But I don't think they've gone up against a defense like Philly yet.
yeah, but Philly's also a little banged up right now. I don't really.
They are, and that's why I didn't love picking them chalky. And I think you will see some people supporting the Niners. I just
See, I'm very clear in my Super Bowl pick. I'm Niners all the way with the NFC. I just don't see anyone beating them. They're
look. The only problem with the Niners is the quarterback.
yeah, and the rest of
only
their
problem. The rest of that team is amazing, hands
is
down.
stacked. Their defense is the best. And yeah, the rest of the offense is really good with McCaffrey.
I just don't know if they can throw it enough. But then you flip this around, right? Because the thing is like the Niners have the best running back in the game.
They do.
Right. And
they can control the clock.
Yeah, and you're putting that against the Eagles, who like the offense is really Hurts in those receivers. I think the Eagles need a healthy Hurts to beat the Niners. I don't think it's like I think it's close.
I think it's close too, but I think the Niners have
to go into Philly.
Yeah, I don't think that matters. I really don't. With a week to prepare, I don't think home field really makes that much of a difference, which is why I thought it was kind of dumb for the NFL to make that decision where they have a neutral field. I don't think that's enough to compensate for that lost game.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's I don't know what the NFL was. It was just a really weird situation. I don't know what they were supposed to do there. I mean, like they can't. There wasn't like a good option to like. I think they should have just left KC with home field. I don't really see how putting in a neutral site benefits anyone. Like, where are they going to put it? Like, that's the whole thing too, right? Like, what's a neutral site, right? Like,
I don't know if this would have changed anything, but I think they should have just made that game a tie. And then whatever the scenarios are with that game being a tie, because what if that game was a tie? Then those scenarios would have had to been there, right?
Right. So the only thing it would have changed is you would have had, I think the Chiefs is the true one without having the home field coin flip. They're not the home field neutral site thing. I also think it's really goofy. So like, why? I guess it's because of like site availability. But why did we have this whole conference the coin flip for the first round? But then for the AFC Championship, we're putting it on a neutral site. It made no sense. The only thing I can think of is
that didn't make sense. I mean, the Bengals kind of got the short end of the stick there with that.
Oh, I don't think they did though, because like the Bills got robbed of a potential bye. Right, like the Bills got the short end of the stick. They got robbed the chance of the potential bye. Like that's like the biggest prize out there.
Yeah, you're probably right. Considering
both teams got screwed over, but there just was no alternative. Like the alternative would have been to have like what would be like what would they have done? Like play my original suggestion was to play the game Thursday and then have the Bills and Bengals play their games Monday or Tuesday, and then have whatever games they're in be the Sunday and Monday. But I don't think the NFL could work that out logistically to fly the teams back in, resell tickets, yada yada.
Yeah, I still think they should have just made that game a tie and then just kind of played it from there. I think that would have been.
I would have been fine with that too,
because that was before the Saturday game in which the Chiefs destroyed the Raiders. So like, if that game was a tie and then the Chiefs lost to the Raiders, the Bill would have home court or home field. It's like they got gypped because they had the head-to-head. Like, so theoretically they should have had the same record. And because the Chiefs were 14-3 and the Bills were 13-3. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess if they lost to the Bengals, it would have been 13-4, and then it's irrelevant. But if they beat the Bengals, they would have had the same record. Yeah, I don't know. It's tricky, but to me, it's 49ers. I think they're the strongest team. They're also coming in hot. I always look at that. Which teams are coming in.
Oh, like I said, the only if they have Jimmy G back there, I'm picking the Niners.
Is Jimmy
and
G
actually in
that much
some ways
better
they
than
look
Brock
better
Purdy?
with Purdy.
But what has Purdy done to not instill confidence in you? Like,
He
he's
hasn't
been
done.
good.
I mean, they're kind of winning with him as like a game manager. I think he's throwing it like 20, 25 times a game.
But
Um,
Garoppolo is the same. He's a game manager. Does he really do anything that special? I don't think
no,
so.
no. Yeah, I mean, so maybe. I mean,
I,
I don't know.
yeah. And then AFC, I'm Bengals. Bengals all the way. I just think I love Joe Burrow. I think he's the closest thing to Tom Brady. And I think he's just like really calm under pressure. He has the MO against the Chiefs. Like he's beaten them the last 3 times, you know? So, and he's the only one that has shown that he can beat Mahomes consistently, even in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean it's one game, but
So, but
but
also
it's
they've
my
also won
concern.
like 8 straight games, so they're really coming in hot.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to tell you that the Bengals can't win, right? It's a 3-team race in the AFC. It's the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Bengals.
Mhm. It's
Yes,
interesting. It's very
it's
interesting.
interesting. I
And
also
then
think the Ravens are a really interesting sneaky
they're
pick, right? Who got the 5 seed? Because the
the
Broncos
Chargers
beat the
got the
Chargers,
5
right?
seed. Bengals are 6. So
Right,
the
because
Ravens are
yeah.
6. But the Ravens are really trending in the wrong way. And then like I don't know.
But they haven't had their quarterback, and their quarterback is
Yeah,
their team.
we'll see if he's playing.
He's
You know,
supposed to play.
supposed to.
And
Yeah.
see, what scares me out, I hate playing the Ravens because you don't get to play very much football against the Ravens because they use up so much of the clock. So there's less plays. So the
Yeah.
games are low scoring and they're tighter by nature.
Yeah, that's true. And they have the best kicker in the league on top of it, Justin.
Right. So for those close games, they have the best kicker,
Right.
which is huge. Um
Yeah. Well,
so.
I also what was I gonna say? Yeah, I don't know. I just like the Bengals. Plus, we're gonna like if I bet Bengals versus Niners, I'm gonna get the best odds. Like I feel like if I go more with chalk and bet Eagles and Bills or Eagles and Chiefs, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna get the same odds. So I think there's just as much value betting Bengals versus Niners as there are the other combinations, and
There
you're
is.
gonna get better odds with the books.
There is.
So that's my
Yeah, the
take. So
only like I said, the only yeah, and I mean maybe you're right. I mean, maybe a rookie 7th round pick. Maybe you can do it.
it's just the rest of the team is so stacked.
I know.
That's
Yeah,
the
it's no
point.
the quarterback. The quarterback. Yeah. Yep. I agree.
Yeah, but we'll see. I mean, it's just a crazy sports January, isn't it? Like with the NFL playoffs and then the Australian Open coming up. I mean, it's just wild. So, yeah. All right. Well, continue to follow us on the Twitter page. This has been fun, and we'll be back probably Friday or Saturday night to preview the Australian Open draw. Sound good, Brad?
Yeah, we'll stick with it. Keep with it. Thanks to any of our followers out there. Thanks to everybody who likes us on Twitter. Thanks to everybody who reads the Twitter feed. Like I said, it's been amazing how many people have actually shown slight amount of interest. So, and leave us commentary if you think these are too long. Let us know, and we'll try to shorten it down. We sometimes get excited to talk about tennis.
Yeah. Yeah. We appreciate any feedback. Well, have a good night, guys. See ya.
Good night, guys. Greek sport.